Dogs are intelligent and eager to please. They prefer warmth and comfort. They need regular meals and grooming. And if you've made the right choice, then they can be easily trained to fit into your home. Before the puppy arrives, you must prepare. First, you have to be aware of all the potential safety hazards that are found in your house and garden. Get down on your hands and knees and crawl around. Watch out for all those hazards that could choke, cut or poison. Gates must be puppy-proof, as must garden fences, hedges and ponds. Try to collect your new puppy when you know you will be home most of the time for the next few days and when the house will be fairly quiet. The owner should give you details of diets, toys, and may also give something that smells familiar to the puppy. This will often help to comfort the puppy during those early days. So now you've taken the puppy home and it faces the first night away from its mother. This can be a tricky time, but it is important the puppy's sleeping routine is established from the start. It's best to find a quiet, dry, draft-free corner for a permanent position for his bed that is convenient for you and him. An uncarpeted room with a floor that is easy to wash is the best choice. A cardboard box with the front cut down makes an adequate first bed, lined with newspaper and a blanket for bedding. When the puppy has passed the chewing stage, a more expensive bed or basket will be more robust. But remember to respect the bed. It's his territory, a snug retreat where he should be able to feel safe and secure. It's best to put the puppy's 2 bowls, one for water and one for food, near its bed on a piece of newspaper, and make sure they're accessible at all times of the day and night. So it's the first day you're sharing your home with your new puppy. It's a very traumatic time for him. He's just left Mum and the rest of the litter, and he's a handful. You've got to establish a routine to make life simpler for you and your pup. And one of the biggest problems you're going to encounter is toilet training. Roger Magford, what do we do?
Don't forget, puppies are learning about so many things almost from the moment they're born, and one of the things they're going to learn from their mothers is that it pays to be clean. It pays to deposit your urine and faeces well away from your central core sleeping area, and also not to toilet close to where your food is. So in fact, food and your den are the greatest deterrents to wanting to go to the toilet. And that natural response tendency can be actually harnessed and exploited in house training, because all you have to do in house training is to limit the puppy's access to a large area, because movement is the one thing that triggers that gastrointestinal surge which ends in the desire to go to the toilet. Also, controlling the time that it's fed, and of course you do because you're the one who gives it the food 4 times a day as a puppy, limits the likelihood of it wanting to go to the toilet immediately after being fed. And thirdly, of course, the mere presence of food is a deterrent to going to the toilet close to that area. They like to go away from the feeding area in order to toilet. And all of these simplifications and aids to house training can be brought together in a simple puppy training crate like this one here, or simply coning off or closing off an area of your kitchen which has made the puppy's special personal lair, its retreat area in which it knows that it is safe. Then at feeding time, be on hand to observe and encourage it to eat its food. Immediately it's finished, let it have a drink, then lift it out into the area of the garden that long term you want it to be toileting in. And it may be the grassy area at the bottom of the garden, your wilderness area, where you're not worried about feces being present. And when you see it circling and sniffing, desiring to go to the toilet, use a very special word. Now with Suki, I want to use the word hurry. Now for each of you it'll be a different word. And then you have this wonderful advantage of having control not only of the area of the garden on which it will toilet, but also a desire to only go, say, on grass and not to foul pavements when you're taking it for a walk, because your puppy's been trained to only go on grass, and also only to go when you say a special word, for instance, hurry. And you can increase the probability of a puppy going to the toilet, interestingly enough, by giving it a food reward. Puppies will toilet in order to get food, not only to defecate, but also to urinate. And then, once you've had a play session, because you must play with your puppy, play is so important, and after it's had its little sniff around in the garden, bring it back indoors, back in its safe little crate area from which it can't chew wires and swallow dangerous sharp objects, and have another sleep. And in this simple process, or program, a mere 2 or 3 days should be sufficient to thoroughly house train it, so that you can then start giving it access to first one room of the house, then the second, third, and eventually all of the house, and with a strong probability that it won't ever toilet in those carpeted areas. And you'll never have to punish it, and please don't rub its nose in it for making these mistakes, because the mistakes are not the mistakes of the puppy. They're really your mistakes in not fully understanding the process of house training.
There are some precautions to take if you are bringing a puppy into a home with other dogs or cats. Initially, introduce them slowly and keep them under supervision. Cats are usually more cautious and sometimes resent intrusion. Dogs are obviously more adaptable towards their own kind, and when they grow up, they'll establish their own pecking order. Apart from sleeping and eating, your puppy will need regular exercise as it gets older. Be careful, though, not to over-exercise puppies, especially those of the larger breeds. Their bones and muscles are still developing, and too much exercise during puppyhood can cause long-term problems. It's great taking your dog for a walk in the countryside, but if you do, please respect the country code. Remember, they can get really overexcited, and it is their natural instinct to chase something. It can create a lot of damage for crops and livestock. Come on, good boy. Play is also a vital element in the development of the puppy, and since you won't always be on hand to amuse it, it will need to learn to play by itself. Providing proper toys prevents its desire to chew your things. Be careful of the safety aspect of toys you buy. Puppies love special rawhide chews, which help give relief during teething. You must learn how to handle your dog correctly from an early age. A good owner should be able to pick up the dog, hold him still, or carry him without causing panic or aggression. If you've got to do any of these things, make sure that you talk to him first so as not to surprise him. And do make sure that you support the dog's body weight correctly. Grooming is good for all dogs, although some need far more than others. Grooming will remove dust, dead skin, loose hair, debris and tangles. It also massages the skin and improves the tone of the underlying muscles and the quality of the coat. It's an opportunity to examine the dog and deepens your mutual trust and sense of companionship. Dogs are very adaptable. They can easily get used to travelling in a car. However, some dogs get car sick. Others get overexcited or distressed immediately they're put into the car. Hello, Lucy. Good girl. Good girl. Dog guards are very popular with many people as they can find the dog and stop him from distracting the driver. Try and get your dog used to travelling in a car from a very early age. And if you're going on a long journey, make sure you stop regularly so that he can get exercise. Never leave your dog alone in a car for more than a few minutes. Always leave the windows down a few inches, especially in hot weather, as dogs are highly susceptible to heat stroke. Should we go for a walk? Come on. Good girl. It's probable that at some time during its life, the dog will have to stay at a boarding kennel. Boarding accommodation needs to be booked well in advance wherever possible. A great majority of dogs quickly adapt to life in a kennel, but a few will pine badly. Good kennels will not accept dogs without vaccination papers, and the staff should be told the name of the owner's veterinary surgeon. All boarding establishments have to be licensed by the local authority, but inevitably standards and facilities vary greatly. It is advisable to visit a number of boarding kennels before making your choice. Watch for the cleanliness, the security, the individual staffing, the type of accommodation and the amount of time dedicated to exercise.